Today we are going to see in History Chapter 4, the Mughal Empire. So why this empire is of significance to Indian history? Now first we'll see about Indian subcontinent. Indian subcontinent actually had people of diverse culture. This diversity never allowed any kingdom to rule India for a longer duration of time. But it was Mughals who actually made possible this idea, and they were the one who were able to rule the entire subcontinent for a long duration of time. So we can also see Red Fort, which is the residence of the Mughal Empire, where you could see our Prime Minister addresses the nation on Independence Day. Who are Mughals? The first idea is, why do we speak and where do they come from? So when we see that, we can see the Mughals were the descendants of two great lineage of rulers. So from the mother side, we can see them actually coming from Genghis Khan, a ruler of the Mongol tribes, China and Central Asia. From the father side, we can see them, they are the successors of Timur, the ruler of Iran, Iraq and the modern day Turkey. So we can see here, they were really felt proud to say that they belong to Timur dynasty. It is because, it was their ancestors who actually came to Delhi, and it was they who actually taken initiative in establishing the empire in India. See, this is the family tree of the Mughal rulers. So we actually start the tree from Babur here, because he was the one who founded the dynasty in India. Babur, Humayun, Akbar, Jahangir, Shah Jahan and Aurangzeb. So here you can see this picture. I think it is also there in your textbooks. We can see here the center person is the Timur. Okay, so here it's the great grandfather of Babur, great grandfather, grandfather, father, and you could see the line of people. Babur, Akbar, Jahangir, Humayun, Shah Jahan, Aurangzeb, all are present in this picture. This is the family photograph of the Mughal emperors. So next we will go one by one about the emperors. So first is the person Babur, but before him also we can see certain people from the Mughal dynasty. As I said, the great grandfathers of Babur came to Delhi and tried to annex Delhi. So now we could see Babur, he was the one who founded this empire here. His real name is Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur. He founded the empire after his victories with the Battle of Panipat and Battle of Kanwa. So this is the campaigns that was led by Babur. So you could see in 1494 he succeeded to the throne of Fergana at the age of 12, and he was forced to leave the throne due to the invasion of Uzbeks. So again you could see he was wandering for years, and then in 1504 he first seized Kabul, and then in 1526 he defeated the Sultan of Delhi, Ibrahim Lodi, at Panipat, captured Delhi and Agra. In 1527, you could see him defeating Rana Sanga, the Rajput rulers and the allies at Kanuva. In 1528, he defeated Rajputs at Chanderi. So now you could see Babur establishing an empire in India. Mostly, he started to establish the control over Agra and Delhi. So this is the picture. This is a map where you could see the extent of Babur, the empire. You could see him starting in Kabul and coming down to your Bihar. So this is Humayun, the next person of Babur. So when we speak about Humayun, see, first thing is he divided in his inheritance with his brothers. So now here we will speak about the two traditions of succession that was prevalent during that time. So when we see that, you could see two system is, one is the primogeniture, where we can see the eldest son actually inheriting the father's estate, whereas the second type is the coparcenary, dividing the land between the inheritance amongst all the sons. So you could see that the second type of system was prevalent in the Mughals. This is also a system where you could see actually Timur dynasty was actually following. So we can here see that the Mughals mostly followed only the ideas of the Timur dynasties. So here you could see, Humayun divided his inheritance with his brothers. So his brother is Mirza Hakim. So the Mirza Hakim's ambitions in expanding his empire was really a problem to Humayun. So you could see because of his ambitions, you can see in 1539 Humayun was defeated by Sher Khan at Chauza and at Kannauj. So what happened? Humayun has to flee to Iran, his native place, and there he got help from Safavid Shah, and then you could see him coming back in 1555 and he recaptured Delhi. So in the next year he actually died because of an accident in the building. So this is Akbar. So the next person, he is the greatest emperor of Mughal Empire. So when we take Akbar, we can see he succeeded the throne at the age of 13. So his duration, his reign can be divided into 3 periods. Initially, because he was 13 years, you could see him getting support by his regent Bairam Khan. And then in 1556 to 1570, the first period, the first 15 years of his reign, you could see him, he became independent. It means that he came out of this Bairam Khan and all the other domestic staff, and he himself started to govern the empire. So he started a military campaigns against Suris, Afghans, Malwa, Gondwana, and you could also see him actually taking a revolt to suppress his half-brother Mirza Hakim. So you could see here in 1568 he captured, he seized Chittoor and Ranthambore. The second period of time, that was 15 years, 1570 to 1585. You could see him actually, Akbar, taking campaigns in the western side, in Gujarat, and you could also see him coming to the eastern side of India, Bihar, Bengal, and Orissa. So, when these campaigns were taken, you could see a complicated idea happened because of the, because you could see the Mirza Hakim, the half-brother, helped these people against Akbar. So the next third period of time, 1585 to 1605. This is the crucial time because you could see the Akbar's empire was expanded to a greater part of India. So campaigns were launched in northwest. Kandahar was seized from Safavids. Even Kashmir was annexed after the death of Mirza Hakim. So now you could see Akbar, the Mughals actually coming down the south. So the campaign started in Deccan. Berar, Khandesh and parts of Ahmednagar were annexed. Now after all these things, you could see Akbar really got distracted by what? You could see the rebellious idea of his son Prince Salim, the future emperor Jahangir. So this is Jahangir. The next is Meherunisa Nur Jahan. She takes an important role in the governance of Mughal Empire during Jahangir's period. So campaigns continued. Whatever campaigns Akbar was doing, the campaigns actually continued. So you could see here, Sisodia, ruler of Mewar, and then Amar Singh accepted the Mughal services. So when the campaigns against Ahom, Sikhs and Ahmednagar, here it was really not that successful. Now here again, the son of Jahangir, Prince Khurram, Emperor Shah Jahan rebelling against Jahangir. So what here we actually mentioned about Nur Jahan. Why? You could see she is actually an intelligent woman. She was really loyal and supportive to the monarch. So even her efforts to convince Shah Jahan was unsuccessful. So you could see there was too many confusion in the empire. So to honor Nur Jahan, you could see Jahangir actually issuing silver coins on her names. We can also see seals, documents where Nur Jahan has